Hi guys, Marcy here. I recorded a video today and realized that I forgot to record an intro of myself. I sort of just jumped right into the video, so I thought I would pop on here to say, hi, my name's Marcy. Welcome to my channel, Amnicon Studio. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you are brand new to the channel, welcome. I hope you stick around for a while and maybe even subscribe. Oh, and while I'm on here too, I wanted to say something about the intro that I put in on this video. The video is of Amnicon Falls from my trip with my son to Amnicon Falls State Park a couple weeks ago. I thought it was kind of fitting, and even though it doesn't have anything to do with crafts or homesteading or chickens or rabbits or anything that I'm currently doing, I thought it was fitting and people would get to see a piece of the country they might not otherwise be able to see. So enough rambling now, back to the video. Bye. I forgot how much prep work there is when you're getting ready to record a YouTube video. And I forgot which side. I'm still getting used to recording with my phone and where the camera is. I have show notes today. I'm not sure how close I'm going to follow them. This is looking like it's going to be a cross-stitch heavy episode. I have one fully finished object, a couple works in progress I'll show you updated progress on, things that I'd like to start in September, one knitting piece, a couple knitting things I would like to start in September as well, which I kind of decided and grabbed the yarn for about 5 minutes before starting this video. There's nothing like being prepared, right? I've got a few YouTube channels that I'll share with you that I've watched in the last couple of weeks, and I don't know, maybe discuss some plans for September. I wrote things down and then thought, I don't know, that sounds awfully structured, and as soon as things get structured in my crafting life, then I just kind of fade out. Okay, my fully finished object is my Quilted Christmas cross-stitch pieces by Emily Call that I purchased off Etsy. Fabric was some 18 count Ada Charles Craft fabric I purchased from Walmart and hand dyed myself. Here's my project card. Try to get that more on screen. Okay, I used all the called for colors. And let's see, I took a picture of the fabric and the pieces right before cutting into the Ada fabric, so I'll post it up here. And my first, oops, here we go. The second one, oh, I forgot to say, on this one it says, "Once there was a quilted snowman made with love." This one says, "Trimming the tree." Little scissors and buttons, little heart and little needle. This one I mentioned in the last episode that I left out a design element here unintentionally. I was just zooming along on stitching the tree and wasn't looking at the chart until I was all done. And then the third one is called, it says Let It Snow. Little snowman, little quilted thing, more trees, heart. This one, I thought I'd be clever and change things up a little bit, and I stitched this one in this color. That's the color of the heart. And then I started working on this part and saw there was another heart and thought, well, that looks kind of ridiculous with the hearts being two colors. So I had to rip this one out and restitch it. Everything else was a piece of cake though. My first time finishing a cross-stitch piece in a round, and I feel that it could have been done better, but it was my first time. I used the sewing machine to sew everything around, stuffed it, and then hand stitched it shut. And now I got to find some way to display these this Christmas. Sorry. Okay, the first piece that I'm working on that I want to share is my one-piece cross-stitch, which I didn't grab the project card for, but I suppose you guys don't care too much. It's a 14 count Aida that I purchased from Walmart. One color, DMC 310, and this time I remembered to iron it for you because the last video when I was doing my edits and saw how awful it looked, I thought I will be sure to iron it this time to share. But here it is. One stitch, or one piece is a anime, and the character that's on here, his name is Luffy, and I'm making this for my son. It's going to be either a Christmas present or a birthday present for him because his birthday is a few months after Christmas. And I'm trying to get at least 317 stitches a week, because a few weeks back I did the math and figured that was how many stitches I would need to do each week to have it done at least 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas, and then I would have time to find a frame and frame it up myself. I don't work on it too often because my son is home and I don't want him to know that I'm working on it. I want it to be a surprise. So that's the first one. I tried to be really clever with the prep this go around, because where I am right now is the she shed that my husband renovated for me out of a chicken coop that we built 9 years ago or so, but we downsized on our flock and he wanted me to have a space to like fully call my own, although I've got some of his stuff in here too up over there because I said that I would be happy to share the space with him. So it's I spend time out here, but I have all the active projects that I'm working on in the house because I mostly stitch in the living room, which is kind of hilarious to me because now I have this whole space for myself and a craft room in the house, and I stitch and mostly knit and spin in the living room, but it's because I want to spend time with my husband in the evenings. Okay, so done with that tangent. The next project that I'm working on, which, oh, I forgot to share the stats on this one with you. Because I remembered this time to write down the amount of stitches. Last week, or last video, I was at 3,425 stitches out of 9,029 stitches. I'm now at 3,757 stitches at 41.6% complete. I cannot wait to see that 50% mark. And then I'm hoping that's just gonna zoom after that. But it's been kind of fussy stitching. A lot of, now after I rolled it up all nice and had it, I'm gonna pull it out and make a mess of it again. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff, trying to show the detail. So while there's big blocks of color, I have to remember to not stitch all of it. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I lose my place on Pattern Keeper. Even though I'm trying really, really hard, I'm doing more ripping out than I thought I would. Okay, enough about that. The next project that I'm working on, which is going to be a long-term, multi-year project, is my Crested Porcupine cross stitch. You know, when I look at this stuff in the screen, everything seems backwards to me, and I forgot to pay attention if everything was showing up correctly or if it was mirror image. This is what the finished piece will look like. It's from Purple Stitching on Etsy. I think she has a website as well. And I thought this time I would show off the flosses, because I can't remember if I've done that yet. But here, I mean, it's a lot of muted colors in the palette, and surprisingly a purple one, which I've already used in the little bit of stitching that I've done. So here we are. Last time, let's see, the last time I showed it, I was at 815 stitches completed out of 64,152 stitches. I now have 987 stitches for 1.54% complete. And I started this back on June 3rd. I was really hoping next time I showed this, I would have been past 1,000, but it just was not in the cards. The third project that I've been working on the last couple of weeks is my second Love and Prickles Porcupine by Lindy Stitches. The first one I made using all the called for colors on a different kind of color fabric, even weave. I don't remember which one off the top of my head. But the second one, I decided I wanted to change the colors. No, not all the colors, just the color of the porcupine. And I'm doing it on 18 count Aida fabric that I think I got from Hobby Lobby this time. And I am having a harder time with this one. But let me show you where I am. I am so close to being done. I didn't make a project card up for this one. I started it maybe this past weekend. I might have taken a photo and put it on Instagram. I don't remember. I'll be honest, I haven't been spending a lot of time on Instagram. But, so let's see. Here is the color palette. And the porcupine originally is stitched in number 415, which is this color. And I said I wanted to make it more true to what color a porcupine is, because I love porcupines. I have a whole story about porcupine that used to live in my wood pile several years back. But I didn't want to use 310. I wanted it to be kind of a softer color because they are not true black. And I thought number 3799 would do the trick. And that is the color of the little porcupine. But where I'm having a problem is his face. His wee little face. Okay, several months ago, I remember watching a video Jean Farish put out where she was talking about the importance of model stitches rather than just designing a cross stitch on the computer and picking the colors that way and then putting out the chart. That it was really important to have a model stitch so you can see how the colors look together. And that is very true. I have learned that lesson this week because I thought if I used 3799, and I don't mean to scowl, it's just I need my glasses and I'm not putting them on. I thought I'd be able to use that color and then stick with the color, the original color for the little face, which is 413, and that they wouldn't be too close in hue that the little face would stand out. And I started stitching and it didn't work. So I ripped out the face. Actually, I ripped out the face and the ear. I had already started stitching the outline of the body and I didn't want to mess with that again. I think I've ripped out the face 3 times. And then one of my friends, after I posted a picture on social media saying what was going on and that I wondered if I think it's Black Coffee, Classic Colorworks, would work. I had a little bit of that in stash. I never went with it. Somebody suggested a color, and I'll put it here what the color was because I don't have that off the top of my head. And I went to my collection and looked and pulled that out, and actually I think the color was in the Crested Porcupine. It's a dark brown. Hold please. Okay, I got it. I remember it was DMC 3371. Let's see if I pull that up. It's showing darker than what it is. It's like a really dark brown. I can't think of anything off the top of my head what it reminds me of, what you could use it for. So I thought, well, that might just work. I stitched the little face. I think I took a picture before I ripped it out, and if I did, I'll post it up here. I didn't like it. And I thought to myself, who would have thought this would be so complicated for me? I might be making it more complicated than it really is. I don't know. But I give a lot of credit to the designers who take the time to do this stuff, to get just the right colors, because 9.99 out of 10 times, I absolutely love the colors that are chosen in the cross stitch projects that I stitch up. I can only think of one time off the top of my head where I opted to change the color on a stitch, and it was only because it blended in really well with the fabric that I used. And even so, I still think that maybe it was too light for the fabric and it's getting lost in the fabric color if the light isn't bright enough or just right. So one of these days I'm thinking I'm just gonna take the project out of the frame and do a back stitch around it rather than restitch the entire thing. Something for another day, you know, when I catch up on all the other projects that I'm doing. So there is that. So last night I finished the body of the porcupine, and I just started doing the quill stitches, the back stitching for the quills. I'm having a hard time with that because the fabric is so dense in this one that I don't think I'm getting in the holes in all of them, but I guess it is what it is. All right, things that I would like to start in September, because I'm not starting anything until September 1st, maybe September 2nd. Last episode that I put out, I was oohing and awing over a few different patterns in this magazine, and I enabled myself. I'm looking up the pages right now for the two that I'd like to start. Okay, sampler September. I've never done it before. People are talking about it. I crack myself up sometimes. I decided that I wanted to start this one, Rest in Peace. This chart is by Becky Noland of Lucy Beam, and there's actually a little article, Inspiration for a Modern Sampler, on here. It says, introducing Becky Noland, behind Lucy Beam, hails from the Great Lone Star State. Her needlework story began in childhood. Lots of nice things about her, and I'm actually really excited to give this one a start. I already did up my flosses. And it's a pretty palette of colors. The bit here says, where did it say? I might be thinking something else, but on here it says, samplers are known for the symbolism of the motifs stitched on the fabric, but this design uniquely centers on symbols found in cemeteries on headstones of days past. So I mean, it's 68 high, 100 wide, finished size 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Well, crossing my fingers, I'll be able to get this done in the month of September. But if not, that's okay. And then the second one out of here that I want to start this month, and for some reason, I keep having a hard time finding this one. Oh, I forgot I marked it. The Petite Pumpkin Scissor Fob. That one is by Tracy Richards of Wrought Iron Stitching. It is 32 high, 32 wide, design size 2 inch by 2 inch. I already have the floss for it. I'm thinking I'm going to go with some of the leftover hand-dyed fabric that I did for the Quilted Christmas. I think that'll look nice together. I'm not sure about the finish though. I've never done a braided cord, so I'll have to do some research and Googling on that to see if, how that's done and if I need to buy anything special to do it. But that's something I'd like to start. And then I have another piece that I'm thinking about, but I'm not set on if I'm going to start it yet this month or hold off until next month. I don't have a picture of it with me at all. I think it might be a free chart by BlackBird Designs. I'm pretty confident it's a free chart by BlackBird Designs. It's the Eiffel Tower, and I think it might be called something Souvenier, but I saw that. Actually, I've held on to that chart for a while with the intention of making it to be given as a gift. And then promptly forgot about it until I saw it when I was looking for something else on my computer. The original chart called for, I think, Classic Colorworks. I don't have that Classic Colorworks, but I have variegated thread. And I thought two variegated threads might look nice with this. And I have a decent amount of that hand dyed 18 count Ada that I did, that I am going to do, you know, the Petite pumpkin with, and then this piece with. But I haven't decided yet which one I like better, because I think the person that I am intending for it likes blue the best, but this more matches the suggested color. So let me know. If anybody has any opinions on that, please let me know. But for now, I'm still just not sure. I am so sorry that I'm a little bit scattered this time. I just realized that I forgot to share the fabric that I picked to go with the Rest in Peace sampler. It's this. I think that will look lovely together. And that is 14 count Rustico Ada that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. Oh, I swear my brain is already on the weekend. I'm really looking forward to a 3-day weekend. The weather is supposed to be nice. Last night we had a storm roll through that was supposed to be really severe, and it started out that way. Thunder and lightning, a lot of rain coming down. There was concerns about hail. I got the chickens in the coop just in time, so I didn't have to try to get them in while it was just downpouring out there. And sometimes they're not smart enough to go in right away. They'll go and hide under the deck while it's raining and then try to wait it out. Chickens can be stupid sometimes. Yeah. One last thing with the cross stitch before I move on to the knitting, and it is Mother's Garden by BlackBird Designs. I'm still not going to start it anytime soon, but I started, well, actually when I first got the chart, it was given to me by my sister-in-law for my birthday last year. I immediately went out and bought the floss for it so that when the time came, I'd have everything all ready to go. But I never picked out the fabric because it called for a linen, and at the time I was not doing linen. I was struggling with even weave, which I realize now was a temporary thing. My eye, you know, I thought everything was real blurry, and I've got a nice magnifier. I've got a variety of reading glasses at different strengths, so that linen is not a problem for me anymore. I'm doing well with the 28 count even weave and the 18 count Ada. I'm trying to think if I don't think I've tried to work with the 36 count even weave yet, but anyways, so I've got all these. I was looking in my curated fabric collection, my little baby curated fabric collection, for fabric for the other projects I just showed, and I came across 32 count Belfast linen that I purchased from Hobby Lobby at some point. I don't know. It wasn't on sale. It's $15. There's no clearance sticker on it. So maybe I thought at some point I would be brave enough to try an actual linen fabric. Because the first time I tried linen, years ago, it was a bookmark kit that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. And I didn't know about going 2/2 or 1/2 or anything like that. So I was getting these little teeny tiny stitches that weren't quite the same, and I didn't know what was going on. But anyways, so I bought this with no project in mind at some point. Sorry, I'm so used to looking this way at the camera, and then it's over here. So yeah, I'm having a time. So I still haven't put an order in anywhere for any kind of even weave or linen fabric for this project. The fabric, let's see, the call for fabric, where did my, oh. The fabric is 32 count Irish Cream by R&R Reproductions. And I thought to myself, it doesn't have to be that kind of tea color. What about white? I can't tell if the colors are really coming through true, or if you're able to see it all. I think it'll look okay. And honestly, seeing that I already have this fabric, I'm kind of not really inclined on putting an order in for fabric until I actually try this and see if I like it or not. So that is a project that I'll start probably sometime this year, before the end of the year. That is it for the cross stitch. I can't believe I managed to talk that long about cross stitch this time. I thought I'd have nothing to talk about when I saw how much I had actually finished. Because I don't feel like I finished much. I feel like I haven't done much the last couple of weeks. So there's that. So first thing for the knitting is my Passenger Princess socks. I have been a Passenger Princess for a little bit of time since I last saw you, and I have that much done. The last time I had only part of the cuff complete, and I've knit probably a couple of inches since then. So I looked at the date that I had started at, and I thought, going into my 3rd month, for vanilla socks. But this project has been good for me. It's been good to have something that I only work on under specific conditions. So there's that. I said the last time that I was going to share what sweater pattern I chose to go with, which yarn I was gonna make the sweater out of, and figure out for the socks I was gonna start up next. Well, I decided for the sweater that I was going to go with my Handspun. I already have some caked up, ready to go. It's Corriedale, I believe. I worked on this, spinning this for way too long. And then last year I made it a point to get her done. I think I've been working on this for 5 years. I am not the spinner that I thought I was. But I think I got it pretty consistent, and I decided I wanted to work with a plain, not plain, but an easy pattern with it that wasn't too busy or intricate or anything like that. And this is the Bly Cardigan by Berroco. The design by Amy Christophers. And I'll put a better picture up, but this is what it looks like. My printer is like 15 years old. And even though it puts those lines out, it still works. So I'm not gonna upgrade it until I have to. So this is a free pattern, and I think it'll look great in Handspun. And I'll start that up sometime next week. It calls for, actually, you know what? I realized I haven't figured out what size I need to do. Oh well, let's see, size 6, 4mm, size 7, 4.5mm, or size to obtain gauge. So smallish needles. I decided I was going to work on a plain pair of vanilla socks. That way I could work on them in the AM when I didn't want to work on the sweater, and I could just knit and not have to think too hard, because mornings are sometimes hard before the coffee hits. And sometimes in the evenings you just want to keep your hands busy but not have to think. Yes, I have some days like that where at the end of the day, I'm just like, oh. So I went and looked in my yarn, and I actually had picked out 2 other yarns before seeing this one, and I thought this would be perfect because it's autumn. And if I'm going to be knitting these out in the deer blind, I need to be careful of what colors I do, because it's a thing. Deer, some colors like blue, like I wouldn't be able to wear this out in the deer blind. It just like fluoresces to them and just really stands out. I decided to go with this. It is Malabrigo sock yarn, 440 yards, 3.5 ounces, number 858 Arbol colorway. Anyways, this was actually given to me several years ago, probably 15 years ago, maybe 16. A bunch of us in my first knitting group, my first online knitting group, it feels funny to say we were assigned essays, but there was kind of like a contest about what made our group great, and me and 2 or 3 other ladies like got the most vote for what we wrote for our essays, and this was given to me. And unfortunately, I'm not friends with that person anymore. So I don't know where she is or what she's doing, but it's been a long time, and I saw this and thought I need to do something with it. And now, because it's not hand-dyed, indie-dyed yarn, I don't feel quite so bad about making a vanilla sock out of them. I feel like if you're paying the money for indie-dyed sock yarn, they should be really pretty, and you should make a pattern with them. And the monkey socks of the Forbidden Fiber Co. that I just finished not too long ago. I mean, it wasn't the yarn itself, it was the pattern. I apparently am not ready to use big girl patterns yet. I'm so used to using just casting on 64 stitches and just knitting for my socks that my brain didn't want to comply, I guess. Or maybe the pattern was just too complicated for me at the time. Because when I picked up the second sock and like put the effort into it to finish it, it was fine. I had no problem with it whatsoever. I don't know. It's, you know, life. So that will be a pair of vanilla socks. I knit those on US 1s, which might be 2.5. I don't know. I'm still learning the millimeter conversion. I'm making the effort in case anybody who's watching this who doesn't use the US measurements for knitting needles has any idea of what I'm doing. So there's that. And then the other day, I don't even know what prompted me to think about this, but it popped into my head and I went, oh, that's right. Before this hunting season, I had wanted to make myself a pair of mittens for wearing out there. Last fall into winter, I got on a knitting kick. And I made a pair of mittens, and they were too big for me. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I made them in a bigger size because I thought I would make them so that my husband could wear them if he wanted to. And I ended up making him a pair of mittens especially for him. So then I started trying to wear these big mittens that were too big for my hands, and it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. But I was determined to wear them and use them, and actually maybe I should just give them to somebody who has big hands, because I have actually pretty small hands. And so I am going to make myself a pair of the world's simplest mittens by Tin Can Knits. I decided to use this yarn, Woolies Thick and Quick, and the charcoal color. And I must have tried to make mittens last year because this is not a perfect skein. I ripped something out and redid it and put this yarn away. And I actually don't know why I have 2 skeins of that, because I'm sure one ball would do a pair of mittens. But yeah, that's actually, I think I'm going to cast these on this weekend maybe, so I can get them done. And not only do I want to make the mittens, I want to make them the flip top. There is a YouTube video, I don't remember who, it's a guy who shows how you can adapt the Tin Can Knits pattern and make them flip top mittens. Because that's what I ended up making for my husband, was a nice pair of flip top mittens so that he can use his smartphone out in the deer blind if he needed to. And he said they worked really well. They worked exactly how he wanted them to be. So there's that. Channels that I've been watching the last few weeks. I have got enough subscriptions. I mentioned last time I've got over 100 YouTube subscriptions that every day I have enough new videos to watch to last me the whole day without having to wait for anything or wait for new videos to pop up. These are some of the YouTube channels that I watched in no particular order. It's just a small amount because I actually don't know how many I watch a day, and I probably shouldn't admit that, but I watch them when I'm working sometimes. Get rid of that notification. Get rid of that notification. So, 5 of the channels that I've been watching this week. Crazy Sock Lady, Kay. I made sure to write these people's names down because I feel terrible that I can't always remember their names, but I can, it's that Crazy Sock Lady. Her name's Kay. She actually explained one of the videos I watched where Kay is like a shortened nickname of her full name. But she wants to go by Kay, I think. In any case, she puts out an amazing amount of socks in a year, and I wish I could be like her. I want to know how she's doing it. Truthfully, because I love hand knit socks. I love making them, but I also like having them fill my sock drawer. And I like giving them as gifts too. Red Cross Stitch, her name's Beth. She is a lady that came up on my recommendations. I've only watched a handful of her videos so far, but she's got a lot going on. She does a little bit of quilting. She does some canning and food preservation right now, and I do some of that stuff too. So it's nice to have that connection as well. And of course she cross stitches. And she does have some really pretty pieces that she's working on right now. Moonshine Stitchery, Phoebe. I believe she was a recent recommendation, so I've only watched a couple of her videos so far. She does cross stitch. She does book recommendations and reviews too, and I like and appreciate that as well. And I think she said something about she has a side business with fingernails. I don't know, because the 2 videos that I've seen so far, she kind of apologized about the state of her fingernails or the different colors because she was doing a demonstration. Crafty Stitches, Danielle. She's a lot of fun to watch, and she's got a variety of projects that she's working on, and this really cute Mickey Mouse chart that she's working on for coffee. I don't remember what it says, but it's really cute, and I had to comment and tell her that I forgot about that one and how cute it was, and I'd like to, well, personally, I'd like to see the finished project on that one and how she ends up finishing it off. And then one that came up that on my recommendations, and YouTube saying that I watched the first episode, and I do not remember watching the first episode, so I'm working through that one right now. But it's Stitching and Tea with B, and her name's Barbara, and she's got a really soothing voice. She's very pleasant to listen to. She's got some beautiful projects. She used to cross stitch back in the day, and the first video, because I'm only halfway through, she was commenting on how different things are now and how it's okay to work on more than one project. And she loves that. So she's got some really nice projects that she's working on as well. And I'm guessing that at the end of the video, she does a tea recommendation. I like tea. I don't drink as much tea as I used to. I turned into a pretty heavy duty coffee drinker to the point that I can drink coffee right before laying down and taking a nap, no problem. But I really need to cut back on the coffee. And I don't drink black coffee. I drink it with flavored creamers, the simple syrups, and all that. I guess they're called dessert coffees. I have to be careful with what I put in them. I can't have too much sugar. Well, nobody should have too much sugar, but I especially have to be mindful of that. So I try to do fancy things. I whip up the heavy cream and do all that, and it's fun. So those are my 5 that I am sharing about this time. I had done this thing where I was going to do my plans for September, and then I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, it's pretty standard that I know the amount of stitches that I need to work on my one piece to get it done in time to give as a gift for Christmas. I try to work on my Crested Porcupine at least once a week. It doesn't matter to me how many stitches I get on it as long as I'm working on it consistently every week. I mean, whether it be 30 minutes, 100 stitches, I feel like putting in 500 stitches. I mean, it's all good as long as I've touched it and worked on it at least once a week. Something that I haven't talked too much about, if at all, on here yet is that I spin yarn, and I had started the year with a goal of spinning every week. I think it was 4 ounces a month, and that hopefully I could get all the bag of fiber I have. I don't think I have any of that one out here. Get the whole bag done in the year, and then I would have more sweater yarn, enough to make another sweater. And that did not work for me for several months due to a health issue that I was dealing with, where really I just didn't feel like doing anything. So for months and months, my spinning wheel didn't get touched, and now I'm starting to get back to it. I spin at least once a week. I don't spin with like any amount of fiber in mind. I just spin until I'm either sick of it or I have a bobbin full. And this past weekend I had a ply party and plied up some yarn because I was running out of bobbins. So now I can spin up again, I think 4 bobbins, four more bobbins of yarn. Yeah, and then in September I want to work on the Rest in Peace sampler. It's okay if I don't finish it all in the month, totally fine. And then work on that scissor fob piece, which, I mean, I thought it was so cute. And I've seen the fabric scissor fobs before, but I've only made one beaded one so far. I mean, I like pretty shiny things. My husband has a joke about that. But I mean, I like all the pretty things, but I don't always have the time to do them because I feel like I have to have this huge block of time set out to do it. And really, it doesn't take that long to make some of these things, but you know, that's that. I mean, I want to do all the things, but I don't have all the time, or I get overwhelmed or intimidated, when really a lot of this stuff is just so easy to do. I'm trying to think if I have any life stuff to share. I'm not sure. I've got, you know, I work at home. I have the dream life. I work at home. I don't have to leave the house. Sometimes I don't want to leave the house, but I do. But so I'm not going out and about, so I'm not having the adventures that my life's not really that exciting. I work, I craft, I putter out in the garden when the weather is agreeable, you know, garden stuff. The garden it's been a rough year for gardening. Some people have been more successful than me. I have had a rough time of it because of all the rain back in June. The garden never quite recovered. It rained just about every day back then. And some things are finally starting to really take off. My tomatoes are finally starting to ripen and blush and come in. I've only had a handful of cucumbers so far, and we've been enjoying them almost as soon as we've been harvesting them. Something new I had this year was onion bulbs that I ordered from, I think it was Dixon Gardening, Dixon Onions, I don't know, somewhere that I've never ordered before, and I'm actually pretty pleased with how those are going, but they'd be going a lot better if I was having a better gardening year. So September is the month that I will be really, I guess, grabbing what I can and processing and harvesting. Hopefully I will have enough tomatoes to make at least one batch of salsa, because I love my homemade salsa. Everybody I know loves my homemade salsa. But yeah, there's always next year. So that, I guess, is it. I forgot to mention that I blog at amnaconblogspot.com. I'm on Instagram, Amnacon Studio. I do have an email address. I need to double check that I have access to it. It would be amnaconstudio@gmail.com if you so desire to send an email to me. Otherwise, I love comments. The last couple of weeks, I've made the effort and pushed myself, and I started reaching out to other cross-stitchers in the community and leaving comments on their YouTube videos and their Instagram posts, and I have been really enjoying that. It's been a lot of fun having these little conversations and oohing and ahhing over other people's projects, and I know they like it, so it's been fun. And also there's no pressure to leave a comment on someone's YouTube video, because, you know, I went into it with the expectation of, like, it'll be a while before some of these people are able to either just click heart on it, click like, or, you know, respond to it. And I had such a fun surprise the other day, because I left a comment on Brenda and the Cereal Starters video. It was a really funny video, and I said something about it being a fun visit, and, you know, thanks for keeping me company while I was doing supper prep and making soup. And I don't know how many days later, one of them, you know, reacted to my comment and responded to it. And I was like, wow, I can't believe it, because they get so many comments and they're taking the time to respond to them all, as far as I can tell. I mean, it's just like, wow, because they're a pretty big channel. They have a lot of subscribers and a lot of comments, and that was really nice. That was really nice of them. So thank you. So I am going to, I guess, wrap this up. It's a beautiful day out. I've got my chickens out. I'm seeing them now having a blast chasing each other around. The sun is shining, and I actually don't know what time it is, but my son sent me text messages asking what supper was, so I suppose I better get going on that. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye now.